they saved about 800 hours of idling in just about 3 to 4 months. So that's right there at today's fuel
Wow.
prices. That's over $3,000. So you'll get a return on investment in this scenario in less than 3 months, which is crazy. It
Yeah,
becomes a no brainer.
we've all seen the trends in the commercial trucking industry towards electrification. If you're a company that is manufacturing components for internal combustion engines, diesel engines, you need to diversify and you need to look for opportunities to be able to change your product mix so that you can be part of this trend towards electrification. And that's what my guest and their company has actually done. So I'd like to introduce Dave German. He's the sales director at Road Warrior, and Dave is a returning guest. Dave, welcome to the Heavy Duty Parts Report. So glad to have you back.
Great. Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for having me back again. Pleasure to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about electrification. You know, you and your company at Road Warrior, you see this trend. What is it that you see exactly that's happening specifically related to products that you're manufacturing?
Yes, specifically related to the lightning volt battery that we developed. Obviously, there's a lot of anti-idling laws that were out there. So there's a lot of APUs, auxiliary power units, that were initially diesel powered to avoid idling the main engine. But in order to reduce greenhouse gases and emission standards, there was a move towards electric APUs. So eAPU, so it'd run on batteries and not even have. So when you're shutting down the truck, there'd be no idling at all. In certain states like California, prohibited idling together, whether it was a small diesel APU or the main engine. So the electric APU became the standard in many of the trucks that were specced out. So it was the right technology, just paired with the wrong battery. So we saw the need, and obviously with electrification, we saw the need to develop a specific product here to solve a problem. People made the investments in the electric APU, but they weren't getting the power capacity to run the HVAC and accessories for the complete night, and the drivers had to end up idling, which was defeating the purpose.
Right. And you know, when you talk about the trend towards electrification, I think a lot of people they just go right to either it's an internal combustion engine or it's a electric or some hybrid kind of system. And you don't think about all the other aspects of electrification. Like there's electrification of axles, like you said, there's the electrification of the APUs. So to me, and I guess I'm curious your perspective on this, but to me, I just don't see us flipping a switch. I see the industry moving in kind of like steps and phases to get to a, let's call it a zero emission world. Is that really what you're seeing as well from your perspective?
Oh, for sure. Being in manufacturing, just you can't start manufacturing all this capacity and just flick a switch, and all of a sudden you're going to get these millions of passenger cars or hundreds of thousands of heavy duty trucks. It takes time to develop that infrastructure, not only from switching the manufacturing capabilities and capacity, but also the supply chain has to adopt with that. And also, nobody's really talking about, where are we going to get all this power? Even though you plug it in the wall, it seems clean, but where is that power that you're getting out of your outlet coming from? And I think that's something that really hasn't been addressed. So I think it's going to take some time to, we're already getting brownouts and things of that nature. So I think we will get there. There's a lot of, innovation, a lot of smart people and people, trying to better the world for everybody and do the right things, but it will take time. And then I think we will get there.
Yeah, that's what I see as well. And I think to a large degree, I think that those intervals and that iteration of technology, and in many ways, it's a good thing because it gives us an opportunity to adapt. It gives us an opportunity to test different ideas and see which one works the best. With all this change, it presents both challenges and opportunities. And really, I think that's what you've capitalized on with this new technology. So when we get back in our next segment with you, Dave, we're going to talk specifically about the products you've developed. And I'm really looking forward to learning more. So we'll be back very shortly. Don't have a heavy duty part number and need to look up a part? Go to parts.diesellaptops.com or download the app on Apple or Android to create your free account. Looking for high quality fuel injection for heavy duty applications? Having one supplier for fuel injection allows you to better serve customers by providing them with a complete line, which increases your sales and profitability. Learn more at ambackinternational.com/aftermarket. So Dave, we're back in our second segment with you, and we were talking about the trends towards electrification, and we kind of ended on the note that with all of this change, there's both challenges and opportunities. Road Warrior saw an opportunity. So can you describe for us the product that you've developed and really what the genesis of that product was?
Absolutely. Road Warrior prides itself as being an innovating company as part of the DCL Technology Group. So we were the first in the aftermarket to offer catalysts and DPFs in the marketplace as an alternative for our customers. And now with electrification, like we talked about, we wanted to dip our toe in the water, for lack of a better word. So we looked at opportunities, and since we're really focused on serving the heavy duty trucking industry, we saw the electric APUs as an electrification movement that we can assist in, because the electric APUs are designed to power the sleeper cabs that have to idle the main engine. However, the traditional lead acid or AGM batteries that are provided with the electric APU don't have enough capacity to run the power needs of the HVAC system and the accessories all night. So really, the system is was not being utilized because it was paired with the wrong battery. So we, to the best of my knowledge, are not only the first but the only manufacturer to specifically design and engineer a lithium ion battery or lightning bolt to be a drop-in plug and play replacement for electric APU storage batteries.
Okay, so in those early model electric APUs, they were just using like a Group 31 starting battery, kind of the same one you would find in a bank of four on the Class 8 truck, or what was the
Typically, that's
battery
still
that
what
was
they're
in there?
getting today. There is a trend to starting to get. We're starting to see some options for lithiums, but there's a lot of legacy APU electric APUs out there, and they're still today being installed with the only option is, like I said, traditional lead acid or
Yeah.
deep cycle AGM battery, which is perfect for a starting battery, but not ideal for a storage battery.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was just thinking about when I sold batteries, like draining down those batteries, those starting batteries down to nothing, and then having to charge them back up. That over time, that's what leads to those batteries just not being able to hold a charge and provide you the power that you want. So yeah, just a situation of like evolving technology, and there's a lag in people moving forward with batteries. So that's great that you took advantage of that. So what's the big difference between lead acid and AGM batteries and lithium?
Just as you mentioned, the lead acids and AGMs don't like to be deeply discharged over and over. As you do that, you lose capacity, and further to that, the system is controlled by voltage. So a fresh battery when it's fully charged is above 13 volts, about 13.2, and as a lead acid or AGM battery starts to lose its state of charge, it kind of goes down at a diagonal. And when it's about 50% capacity, voltage is between say 12.6 to 12.4 volts, and around there, and the
Okay.
system, to protect itself, will start to load shed it and maybe auto start the truck. So really, you've only used about half of that 100 amp capacity, and already you're starting your truck. So it kind of defeated the purpose. The nice thing about lithium technology, it stays above 13.2 volts until it's only almost 95% discharge. So now you're getting twice the usable power. You're using that almost that total 100 amp hours. So that's the big difference. You're essentially getting twice the power, and it'll last much longer, like up to 10
Right.
times longer than your lead acids, because it can handle that deep cycle discharge without hurting the lithiums.
When are you recharging these batteries? Is it when the truck is started and then as they're driving down the highway, some of that charge is from the alternator is being sent back to those batteries, or how does that work?
Yeah, correctly. The system's designed that they have they're equipped with sometimes with an isolator, with or without an isolator, to kind of combine both battery banks and separate them. So what we did is we specifically designed and engineered the battery management system to work with the existing electronics. So it'll work with the factory installed alternator, has enough power to supply to the lithiums and the AGMs. They'll work in conjunction and together with them seamlessly. And that battery management system, like I said, when you take an what we've done differently, when you take an off the shelf lithium, the battery management system won't be calibrated to work as a plug and play and drop in. So this is where what Road Warrior's done differently. We've designed it as a drop in plug and play install to work with the existing electronics and alternator system.
Being the first to market with something is always bold. What has made this kind of a hard problem for others to solve? Like, why is that challenging, and how were you able to solve those challenges?
I think in taking the time to test it. So it's easy to think about something, but you have to test, and it's proof of concept. So we've been working on this for a number of years. We approached some customers and fleets that have been great and allowed us to access to the trucks to test them. It's that kind of first, second, third, fourth generation to make that investment and then kind of tweak those settings and engineering that battery management system to work seamlessly with, because the electronics on the truck is very sophisticated today. So you
Mhm.
can't just drop in anything and assume it's going to work. So if you take you're going to have interruptions and things happening, or not communicating properly or charging properly, things of that nature. So we've kind of had a learning curve. We've done a lot of sort of in lab testing and then real world testing, working with a variety of fleets that we were very happy to cooperate with, and we appreciated their support.
Yeah, it's so essential to get that real world testing done so that you can really see what it's going to do, and that gives you the opportunity to talk about economic impact. So, when someone is using like a lead acid or an AGM battery and they're running those batteries down and those batteries die, I mean, obviously the replacement cost of those batteries is going to be what it is, and it can be a few $100 up until over $1,000. When you put these ones in, I'm assuming maybe the purchase price might be a little higher, but on the back end, the person's going to save a lot of money because they're not going to have to replace the batteries as often. Is that the primary source of savings when you look at a little bit longer timeline?
Actually, it's twofold. It's the replacement. So yeah, I'd say the traditional lead acid AGMs have to replace every 1 to 2 years. The
Mhm.
lithiums will last, many times longer than that. So the replacement intervals will be lower. But further to that, it's because you're getting twice the usable power, you're going to get a return on investment on fuel savings alone. So we had one fleet who says, "Oh, we have an electric APU. My driver does an idle." And we said, "Well, let's we're gonna put a logging system on there, and we'll let him know he has lithiums and see what happens." And when talking to the driver, he had what we call battery anxiety. He knew that he didn't have power to run them. So what he would do, he would be running the truck for 4 to 6 hours every day because he knew he would make it. And then he would just turn on his electric APU maybe to make tonight to run his heating and cooling. So he was defeating the purpose. We told him, you got the lithiums, now run them. And then what we found was they saved about 800 hours of idling in just about 3 to 4 months. So that's right there at today's fuel
Wow.
prices. That's over $3,000. So you'll get a return on investment in this scenario in less than 3 months, which is crazy. It
Yeah.
becomes a no brainer.
Oh, that's so great because many times, when I was selling parts, I'm trying to convince fleets like, spend 3 times as much on spring brakes or on brake material, spend 3 times as much up front, and over 4 years you'll get the money back. And they're like, it's almost like it was such a long interval. It was
Long time.
hard. Yeah, hard. And it's not that the numbers weren't real, but it's kind of hard to like, you don't get that immediate payoff, right? But with this, that immediate payoff, that's fantastic. And then on the long term, they get the additional savings of not having to replace those batteries as often, which also it's not just the replacement cost, as we all know. They also have to pay somebody to switch them out.
Oh, 100%. So like I said, not only is it's a replacement, but it's the fuel savings. And then it's what we're trying to do. It's environmental, reducing greenhouse gases, not to mention the wear and tear on the engine, the amount of hours that you're running, the after treatment system doesn't like idling. There's a whole bunch of things that the ROI is comes from a lot of places, not just one thing where you're saying just the replacement cost. You're getting
Yeah.
benefits in many different areas. And we didn't time the price of fuel to be right. So us entering the market when the fuel prices are skyrocketing, it was almost became a lot. Well, the ROI was a lot easier to justify, or the payback was a lot shorter than you would typically see when fuel prices were lower.
Right. Well, you have to be good to be lucky and lucky to be good. And you guys are good and lucky. So that's awesome. Your expertise when you were on the show before, we were always talking about diesel emission systems and engines. Let's talk a little bit about that because I think that there is some misunderstanding or maybe some leftover not bad habits, leftover old habits from some of the older technology with engines. Like, as far as what I've been learning lately, these new engines, they don't like to idle. And certainly the diesel emission system doesn't like idling. So, let's talk a little bit about that because that's also a significant part of all of this. If we could reduce idling, it does impact the engine and the diesel emission system. And as we all know, that's a pretty costly system to maintain and repair.
For sure, that's why it was a perfect fit. Not only does it bode well for the savings, but the wear and tear on the engine, and because we saw after treatment system, DPFs and SCRs and the after treatment system as a whole doesn't like idling. When you're idling, you're just loading and straining the system and reducing the shelf life and increasing the maintenance intervals of that system. If not, you're damaging it altogether. So anything over, even from a warranty perspective, OEMs anything over 20% idle could be considered excessive idling, and it can actually even deny you warranty. I've been at a few
Wow.
seminars where Some manufacturers said if we go into your ECM, you see you've been idling over 20%, they gives them grounds for denial due to excessive idling. So these are the types of things that truck owners and fleet operators have to be aware of. That idling is not only bad for the environment, it's bad for your pocketbook and the overall maintenance costs and cost per mile for to running that keeping that truck on the road.
Right. And if by using this new battery system with your EAPU, and then if you could even eliminate like one DPF cleaning a year or something like that's also money in the bank. So like no matter how you look at it, this is good, 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 good.
Oh, that's what I mean. It's such hard. It'd be so hard to put a number on the maintenance cost of the wear and tear side of things. That'd be very hard to quantify. So those are definitely benefits that you don't have to explain to any mechanic or service manager that idling is bad for your engine. So anytime you can reduce idling, people's eyes will perk up. If I can reduce idling, I'm saving money. I'm saving fuel. It's better for the environment, and it's gonna reduce my maintenance interval. So that becomes a much bigger conversation, and that's why. And not to mention the batteries are half the weight as well, so they're lighter. So there's a lot of added benefits that you get. So even reducing weight on a truck, people always want to put weight to carry freight, not towards the vehicle. So that's another smaller benefit as well. They're half the weight of the lead acids too.
So you can literally be a superhero by buying these batteries because you can save the environment, you can lower idling costs and wear and tear, you can reduce the fuel consumption, you can decrease the weight on the truck, and then on top of that, you can get better performance out of your batteries for the driver. So your driver satisfaction is going to go up. So be a superhero. Head over to roadwarrior-inc.com and check out their new products. And they've got distributors and they've got a great platform for you to be able to buy their product. So thank you, Dave, so much for coming on the show and sharing with us this exciting new product. I think it's awesome. Really excited to see how you guys do in the marketplace with it. I think you're going to be really successful.
Yeah, thanks again for having me back, and looking forward to maybe talking to you again down the road when we have something else that need drives innovation. So that's what we're here to do to try to help solve problems and give solutions to our customers in the marketplace.
Thank you for watching this video. Click here to subscribe to the Heavy Duty Parts Report YouTube channel and click here to watch another great episode.